Do you ever wonder why you're bleeding in between your periods? Spotting can be confusing and sometimes alarming, especially if you're tracking your cycle and you get a random day of light bleeding out of nowhere. Sometimes bleeding in between your period is normal. Ovulation bleeding is an example of that and actually can be a sign of healthy ovulation. However, typically your period should arrive, last 5 to 7 days, and then you should not bleed again until your next period arrives. If that is not the case, then it's a sign that something deeper is going on. Hormonally, with your stress levels, or underlying health issues. So let me answer your question on why you might be bleeding in between your period. First potential reason could be a hormonal imbalance. Low progesterone levels is the most common cause of spotting, especially leading up to your period. Progesterone is the hormone that stabilizes your uterine lining. If your levels are too low, then that uterine lining becomes unstable and you start to shed before your period is due. Your progesterone levels will be low if you're not ovulating. Ovulation is not just about fertility, but it's also when you produce this vital hormone. Some of the reasons why ovulation might be either delayed or shut off completely is down to chronic stress, under-eating or overtraining, thyroid issues, or PCOS. Under the bracket of hormonal imbalances, another potential reason of spotting is estrogen dominance. This is when you have too much estrogen in comparison to progesterone. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have too much estrogen. Your estrogen levels could be normal, but your progesterone could be low, and this is what leads to an imbalance. Estrogen is the hormone that builds up your uterine lining. If there's too much estrogen and not enough progesterone to balance it out, then your uterine lining becomes overgrown and unstable, which leads to breakthrough bleeding. Some reasons why we may develop estrogen is down to poor liver detoxification, gut issues, high body fat, exposure to environmental toxins, or chronic stress. The second factor that can create spotting is thyroid issues. Thyroid hormones influence how your body responds to both estrogen and progesterone. So when your thyroid function is off, that is likely to disrupt your menstrual cycle. Both hypothyroidism, which is low thyroid, and hyperthyroidism, which is high thyroid, can lead to spotting. If thyroid is the issue, then alongside spotting, you are likely to also experience fatigue, weight changes, hair loss, and mood changes. The best thing you can do to rule that out is to get a full thyroid panel, and not just your TSH, but also T3, T4, and thyroid antibodies. Another reason why you may experience spotting is down to having PCOS, even if it has not yet been diagnosed. With PCOS, women usually have either irregular ovulation or not ovulating at all, paired with insulin resistance and elevated androgens, which are male hormones. When you don't ovulate regularly, your uterine lining builds up without the progesterone to stabilize it. And this can lead to irregular bleeding or spotting. If you haven't been diagnosed with PCOS, but suspect that might be the reason, other signs to look out for are acne, facial hair growth, and difficulty losing weight. And lastly, spotting can also be down to birth control adjustments. If you recently started birth control, switched brands, or are using a hormonal IUD, spotting is really common, especially in the first few months. If that's the case, your body is adapting to the synthetic hormones, and the lining of your uterus may shed irregularly as it adapts to new hormone levels. If that's the case for you, give yourself 3 months. If the spotting continues after that, then speak to your doctor to try out a different formula or method. So if you experience spotting, now you know it can be down to a hormonal imbalance, thyroid issue, PCOS, or adjusting to hormonal birth control. However, if the spotting is heavy or getting heavier with time, it comes with severe pain or cramping, happens consistently with every cycle and it seems to be getting worse, or comes with unusual discharge, it's worth seeing a doctor to rule out more serious causes such as fibroids, endometriosis, STIs, or cervical issues. I hope this video helped you understand why you may be bleeding in between your period, how in some cases it is common and normal, but in a lot of cases it is a clear sign that there is something off in your body, and also what things to look out for that need to be addressed further to rule out any of the more serious causes. If you're new here, hi, my name's Martina. I share content around hormones, women's health, diet, and lifestyle to help you understand and connect to your body better. If this resonates, hit the subscribe button as I share videos weekly.